Hi, this is attorney Tim Anderson. I'm going to try to give you a little bit about bankruptcy in the next 5 minutes. If you're thinking about filing bankruptcy, if this is going to be something that is right for you. There are 2 chapters in bankruptcy. There's chapter 7 and chapter 13. Those are the primary chapters for consumers. Now, there are other chapters of bankruptcies, but for the vast majority of people, there are chapter 7 and chapter 13. I handle these matters in North Carolina and Virginia. Chapter 7 bankruptcy is a bankruptcy where you are not repaying debt, but you are wiping out unsecured creditors. Now, unsecured creditors are things like credit cards, medical bills, repossessions, broken leases, unpaid utility bills. Those types of debts are what typically go away in Chapter 7 bankruptcy. Categorically, the types of debts that do not go away in Chapter 7 bankruptcy are governmental debts like tax debts. Most tax debts do not go away. Student loans and secured creditors. Now, a secured creditor is like a car loan, mortgage loan, grand furniture loan. Those debts do not go away in Chapter 7 unless you are going to give up the property. So if you have a car loan and the car's been taken or you're going to give the car back, then that debt would go away. But if you have a car loan, you want to keep your car, you have to keep paying for it in Chapter 7. So you're only attacking unsecured debt. There are limits of income limits of people who can file Chapter 7. For a family of 4, around $100,000 in Virginia, around $80,000 in North Carolina. Those are income limits, meaning that if you make more than that, generally you're not going to be able to file Chapter 7. There are a couple of exceptions, but generally you're not going to be able to file Chapter 7. So if you have a family of 4, your income's $100,000, or say your income's $90,000 in Virginia, you should be able to probably qualify for a Chapter 7. Now, sometimes in Chapter 7, you do lose assets. They will go after things that you may own if there's equity in them. So, for instance, if you have a paid-off car, it's worth $20,000, that car would likely be taken, sold, and the money from that car would be used to pay off your unsecured creditors. And you'd be able to protect some of it, but a good part of it would go back to your unsecured creditors. So Chapter 7 is going to wipe out unsecured debt. Chapter 13 wipes out unsecured debt as well, but it also is a little different on how you deal with certain things. Like, for instance, if you have assets that you would lose in Chapter 7, you can keep them in Chapter 13. Because in Chapter 13, what we are doing is we are making some repayment back to your creditors, usually over a 3 to 5 year time period. So in Chapter 7, where you're wiping those unsecured creditors out, we are keeping them in a repayment plan in Chapter 13, and you're going to pay back some of that money, not necessarily all of it, but some of that money. And because you're voluntarily repaying debt in Chapter 13, they usually don't look at going after your assets. You're also able to reorganize loans, secured loans in Chapter 13, such as a car loan. We can reduce interest rate down to around 6.5–7%. We can deal with mortgage arrears. If you've gotten behind on your mortgage, we can put that into a repayment plan for you to repay that debt over time. So there are a variety of different types of options you have in Chapter 13 if you have other problems other than just unsecured debt. So if you're behind on your mortgage and a foreclosure is pending, or you have tax debts that don't go away, or you have student loans that don't go away, or you have a high interest rate car loan, those are good reasons to do Chapter 13. And one of the other good reasons to do Chapter 13 is if you've already filed Chapter 7, you can only file Chapter 7 every 8 years. So if you filed Chapter 7 5 years ago, you would not be able to do that again. Chapter 13 would be an option of you being able to get your debts pulled into a pot and to be able to make some repayment to your creditors. So those are the underlying and decisions that you can take in and start thinking about whether bankruptcy is right for you. The biggest benefit of bankruptcy, other than getting rid of debt, is something called the automatic stay. Once we file your bankruptcy, you get protections on day 1. So that's how we can stop garnishments, foreclosures, things like that. So my name's Tim Anderson. I'm here in Virginia Beach. I handle cases from Raleigh to Virginia Beach to Richmond and up into Alexandria. So if you're anywhere in those areas, give me a call, 757-800-1000. Be happy to speak to you about your case, and it's a free consultation. Thank you.